Firefox, when I accidentally said Facebook, but Firefox, here we go. Um, address bar has ads now. You can apparently disable them, but essentially what happens is when you start searching or start typing in a search, in the bar up the top, you can see me selecting it on the screencast. The Firefox essentially just shows ads there, or has partners marketing within those search results. I wanted to mention this because it's just another example of ads just really crossing into the mainstream and sort of getting into more products than ever before. I think Facebook advertises so much that I don't really use Facebook anymore. There have been examples of sort of budget phone manufacturers pushing ads on home screens. I've heard of even Samsung pushing it on like their really high end products.
Yeah, my Samsung does that for sure.
Wow,
Yeah.
mine doesn't, but I don't know why mine doesn't. Yours is not necessarily just a budget Samsung either.
No, I'm not
I've
sure.
heard
It's only in very specific situations, but I can't think of what they are, but it's definitely pushed through from Samsung. So it's not sort of
right,
intrusive as much as it could be, but
but
it
it's
is
there.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of TVs doing the same thing, talking about like screensavers. On some TVs, like my TV at home's got a screensaver, but there's talk of putting advertising and pushing advertising already in some regions through those. So imagine you buying a TV for thousands of dollars, putting it as the centerpiece in your living room to
My
then have
goodness.
ads. Exactly.
It
I
feels
know.
very Black Mirror-esque, doesn't it?
Exactly, and that's sort of what I wanted to talk about and why I wanted to point this out. Like, what do we do? Google Chrome, people don't like it because of the privacy aspect and the fact that Google sort of follows you around. But then, when I would say the only other browser that can really stand up to Google Chrome is Firefox, is doing this. Is it just a money grab? Are they? I haven't looked into it. Maybe they're not profitable at all. And I mean, they're a not for profit, but not for profits still need to make money to keep running. Um, it's just an interesting one. I just wasn't sure how I felt about it.
Hmm. I am not sure how I feel about it either because I feel like it's going to be a case of people that are less familiar with the user interface and things are going to be more likely to click on those ads without actually recognizing that they're ads. I mean, I'm not sure how they're planning to display it. It might just be a case of having a little like suggested or like, like you do on social media. It's just got a tiny little thing saying promoted. And it's hard to distinguish sometimes. So then all of a sudden you don't know that you're being advertised to. And I think that there's a lot of ethical questions in that
Well,
when
I
you're
think in an
unsure.
ideal world, they do the bare minimum so that it's obvious enough. Like bare minimum saying, I don't think the only examples I've seen of platforms doing enough to make it clear that ads are ads is when there's a little advertisement sort of label underneath an ad, or in the previous uh, Verge screen share, there was a powered by company name under an above an ad. Those are very obvious instances, but I mean, it makes sense, right? You wouldn't want something to be seen as an ad because as soon as you see that it's an ad, or as soon as it's overtly clear that it's an ad, it suddenly loses its impact. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there'd be an opportunity there though for a company who's really like big on transparency and things to leverage on being transparent with the ads and build a customer base, I guess, off always being honest with that. I feel like it could really tie into a couple of brands really well, but it would have to be careful execution.
well, it could, but then you're talking about two completely opposing things here, right? So, a company getting enough market share without funding from advertising, essentially, is what you're talking about. Because if you make it clear that something's an ad, less people are likely to click on it. That's
Hmm.
almost a fact.
Yeah, but from the perspective of the brand that's advertising, like pushing through whatever channel it is, I think there'd be an opportunity there to say, hey, yep, this is an ad, but we're being really honest with you that it's an ad. I feel like there is room there for it, but it would just
But
be
what does that do? Like, if you saw that something was an ad, would you
I'd be like, "Hey, you're being really honest with me. Thanks for that. Let's see what you're wanting to push to
would
me."
you? Would you so you would take
Maybe.
time out of your day to just check out an ad that I mean, even getting noticed in the first place is like think about in that sort
Hmm.
of lens, right? Like, so 2 in 100 people notice you, and then you're gonna say that, "Hey, this is an ad, click on me." What's that gonna do to your conversion rates?
Yeah, I don't
Maybe an
know.
opportunity for us to run some ads
Yeah,
and test it out. Who knows?
it could work. I mean, if you sort of take it to a different space, like TV advertising, let's say, everyone knows when the commercials come on, it's the commercials really obvious. But that doesn't stop TV ads being important and helpful.
Well, TV ads are the biggest reason that Netflix succeeds because you don't see
Yeah.
ads.
Yeah.
People are moving from I mean, radio,
Yeah.
same thing, right? I don't radio is the biggest reason why Spotify succeeds, why music streaming succeeds.
I
Why
mean,
else
there's
would
definitely other elements to it. But yeah, that would be one of them.
a huge reason. I don't watch YouTube free because there's ads. I
Hmm.
don't watch anything that I mean, where possible, if ads were invasive enough, intrusive enough, I would pay to not see those things. Like on YouTube, it's a bit of a different story around the web because generally Google penalizes sites that have ads that in essentially take over the viewer's experience or make it a negative sort of experience. But that again is because Google makes so much money through Google Ads that it's in Google's interest to make it hard for advertisers to get better reach. So it's a whole can of worms. We don't have to get into it, but I think it's an interesting one. It's one of those things that I would just disable straight away if I was a Mozilla Firefox user.